let's zoom out. Let's talk timing. What does history actually tell us about when these things tend to heat up? Let's talk about Q3 in post-election years. Historically, flat, maybe mildly bullish, nothing to write home about. But Q4, that's when the fireworks historically ignite. Nasdaq often sees strong gains, and Bitcoin, it's been tracking this post-election year perfectly so far this year. Remember Q4 2024? Bitcoin smashed through 100k. That set a precedent. Does that guarantee a Q4 2025 mega pump? Well, of course not. Past performance is not indicative of future results, but it adds serious data back weight to the Q4 breakout thesis. Now, layer this onto what the Federal Reserve is signaling, rate cuts, the magic word for risk assets.
We could see inflation come in not as strong as we expect. And if that were the case, that would tend to suggest cutting sooner.
People in the Fed are now calling for cuts in July. And if not then, by September, is almost a done deal anyway. Plus, there's still an 88% chance of at least 2 cuts by year end. You see how the timeline starts to align. Q3 builds a potential base, rate cuts start trickling in, injecting liquidity, and Q4 potentially explodes. But wait, I hear you screaming. If alts don't move until September or Q4, isn't that too late? Isn't that when Bitcoin usually tops out, like 18 months post-halving? Good question, a very, very good question. And that leads us to the biggest truth of this entire cycle. Listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. The neat, predictable 4-year Bitcoin cycle, it's probably dead. Or at the very least, it's on life support, undergoing a massive transformation. Why? Bitcoin ETFs. Mass institutional adoption. BlackRock's ETF becoming the fastest growing ETF in history, smashing $70 billion in assets under management in just 341 days. As of Q4 2024, professional investors were holding $27.4 billion in Bitcoin ETFs. These aren't just small ripples. These are earthquakes in the market structure. It's entirely plausible, even likely, that Bitcoin behaves more like the traditional stock market now. Less predictable, violent 80% crashes, more prolonged sustained moves, more chop. But, and this is absolutely critical, that does not mean alt season is dead. It means the tempo has changed. The rhythm of the market is different. Institutions, the new elephants in the crypto room, they buy slow. They accumulate methodically. They rotate late compared to degens. They don't just FOMO into shitcoins on a random Tuesday. That's why the window for this alt season is likely wider. It's why many analysts believe this cycle could extend well into early 2026, especially if the macro environment continues to ease with those anticipated rate cuts. The game has changed, but the fundamental flow of capital from Bitcoin to alts, that rotation, that's still coming. So the game plan is becoming clear, right? We need conviction. We need patience. We need to be ready for a cycle that might not look like the ones before. One that could stretch into 2026. But all that patience, all that diamond handing your high conviction plays, it's worthless if your assets aren't secure for the long haul. And let me drill this into your head, burn it into your brain. Not your keys, not your crypto. Leaving your forever bag, your potential retirement fund, your kids' college tuition sitting on an exchange in this market with the ghosts of FTX, Celsius and countless others haunting us, it's insanity. One hack, one exchange collapse, one surprise regulatory rug pull. Your entire bullrun plan, your dreams, gone, wiped out, vaporized. Hardware wallets are the answer. We know this. But let's be real. Some of them are clunky, complicated, and still leave you vulnerable with those damn seed phrases that you can lose, damage, or get phished. This is why, for my long-term holdings, the coins I plan on riding through this entire extended cycle, I trust Tangem. It's simple. It's elegant. It's secure. It's built like a digital Fort Knox for your crypto. The magic? There's no seed phrase to write down, to hide under your mattress, to get stolen by sophisticated malware or a convincing scammer. Your private key is generated inside the card using a certified chip, and it never leaves the card. It's still your key, your crypto. You can even extract the private key if you absolutely insist on that old school backup, but the day-to-day security and usability, light years ahead. It's genuinely one of the easiest and most secure ways I've found to take self-custody and truly own your assets for the long run. If you're planning on playing the long game, if you're aiming to be patient like the smart money, then you need to secure your assets like the smart money. There's a link for Tangem right down there in the description. Get your serious bags off those exchanges and into your own damn possession. Seriously, don't be the person who wins big and then loses it all to something preventable. Do it. So, let's bring this all home. The big question, are you too late for alt season? The answer, loud and clear, backed by data, history, and a changing market structure is no. You are not too late. But, and this is just as important, you are probably too early to expect it to kick off right now, this very second. And that's a good thing. This quiet period, this simmering uncertainty, this fear in the market, this is when the smart money prepares. So, what should you be doing right now? 1, watch Bitcoin dominance and ETH BTC like your portfolio depends on it, because it does. Those are your primary rotation signals. 2, keep a very close eye on that total to BTC chart. When that starts showing sustained real strength, also waking from their slumber. 3, stay patient. Those Fed rate cuts, that historical Q4 strength, the extended cycle, these factors matter. Don't let your impatience and FOMO wreck your entire cycle. 4, don't chase random pumps and fleeting hype. Build real, research-backed conviction in narratives you believe have long-term potential. Alt season is not a myth. It's not a forgotten dream from past cycles. It hasn't even started yet. Love you all. Trade smart. Don't be a dumbass. And see you next time.